Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, sa mga kamanggagawa natin dito sa Kongreso, housekeeping, security, congressional staff, at sa lahat ng mga manggagawang at ordinaryong Pilipinong nanonood, magandang gabi po. It is my privilege to give the maiden speech of the kampihan ng mga maralita at manggagawa, or also known as Kamanggagawa Party List. Una, kami po ay taus-pusong nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng mga nagtiwala sa amin nung nakaraang halalan. Di po namin tinitignan ang pagkapanalong ito bilang simpleng pagkapanalo lamang, kundi isang sagradong kasunduan sa pagitan ng kamanggagawa at ng mamamayang Pilipino. In this spirit also, I would like to congratulate my fellow representatives on your own victories. It is easy to take political democracy for granted, but the peaceful transfer of power which allows us to perform our responsibilities is as valuable as this institution itself. May we always remember who put us here, the Filipino people. Ang mga manggagawa't ordinaryong Pilipino, sila ho ang dahilan kung bakit tayo narito. Mr. Speaker, Kamanggagawa Party List was brought to this Congress through a historic campaign where we severely lacked funding and resources. Lagi naming sinasabi noon, wala kaming budget. Di namin kayang makipagsabayan sa mga kumakandidato na mayroong tradisyonal na makinaryang makikita at aasahan tuwing halalan. But in the absence of funding and traditional support, we rallied our members composed of trade unions, community and neighborhood associations, cooperatives, and other people's organizations. Mga ordinaryong tao katulad po ng inyong lingkod. Through the power of social media and a strong, consistent message, we were successful in channeling the voices of those who felt as if our current institutions no longer serve their interests. Those disillusioned by the decades-old promise of provincial wages, and those who feel shortchanged by the regular functioning of our economic system. I say this to you, dear colleagues, because we believe our campaign heralds a pivotal changes in politics and brings lessons we should all heed. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, the people are hungry for change, and we are tired of getting spare change from the institutions who ought to serve the interests of the many and not the few. Through social media, through community organizing, and through people-to-people conversations, we reach those who had long felt excluded and invisibilized. Mr. Speaker, we spoke to security guards, janitors, fast food crew, riders, construction workers, vendors, nurses, and people from all walks of life. Many of them told us the same thing. They work hard but can barely survive. They vote but feel unheard. Thus, our campaign asked a hard but honest question. Nasaan nga ba ang pangako ng demokrasya? Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, before addressing this question, allow me to tell you a story about one of our constituents. Isa po sa mga nakilala ko sa pag-iikot si Ate Lorna, security guard sa Davao. Siya po ay nagtatrabaho ng 12-hour shift para lamang sa kakarampot na 400 pesos kada araw. That is about 33 pesos per hour. Barely enough for 3 meals, much less for education, healthcare, or rent. Kinakailangang lumipat ng kanyang asawa sa Maynila para sa mas mataas na sahod. Her kids have grown up barely knowing their father. Sabi niya sa amin, parang parusa ang maging mahirap sa probinsya. Kwento po ito ng milyon-milyong Pilipino, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. Now, what is democracy? The dictionary definition is a government of the people, a rule by the majority. Democratization and development scholars invite us to embrace a more substantive definition. Democracy, not just as rights, but as the expansion of people's capabilities. Democracy as enabling people's active participation and making them believe that such participation is meaningful. Mr. Speaker, mga kasama kong mambabatas, ang demokrasya ho ay hindi lang tungkol sa pagboto o karapatang bumoto tuwing halalan. Ang demokrasya ho ay tungkol sa daily right to eat, to rest, to learn and be educated, to be treated when sick, to be with one's family, to be treated with respect in the workplace, and to live a fulfilling and dignified life. Ang tunay na demokrasya ho ay nagbibigay ng kakayahan sa mamamayan, hindi lamang ng karapatan. Democracy should enable people not just to dream, but to pursue those dreams with real opportunities and real support. Ang kailangan nito ay mamamayang malaya sa gutom at sa kahirapan. Democracies, furthermore, must promote inclusive growth to preserve their democratic character. If a significant portion of the populace feels disenfranchised, the promise of the election of their leaders is tenuous at best. It turns voting into a formality, or worse, a cruel illusion. Kung hindi na naniniwala ang mamamayan sa sistema, wala ng pundasyon ang pananatili ng sistema. We need inclusive growth across the nation in recognition of the value of every worker, be they from NCR or any other region. Beyond the political democracy that put us in power, then there is an economic democracy that should be its foundation. Political power without economic freedom is empty and hollow. With all these in mind, we dare to ask, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, and distinguished colleagues, do we truly have democracy in this country? Ayon po sa datos ng SWS, kalahati ng populasyon sa bansa ay nagsasabing sila ay mahirap. At 1 sa 5 pamilya ang nagsabing sila ay nakararanas ng gutom. Kung tayo nga pong mga nandito sa National Capital Region ay hirap ng pagkasahin ng 695 pesos sa isang araw, paano pa kaya ang mga manggagawa doon sa probinsya? Halimbawa na lang sa BARM, kung saan sumasahod lang ang isang manggagawa ng 386 pesos. Napakalayo at wala pa ito sa kalahati ng sinasabi ng mga pag-aaral na higit 1,200 piso kada araw ang kailangan para tugunan ang mga basic na pangangailangan para mabuhay ng disente. Worse, contractualization continues to flourish with workers kept in perpetual limbo, denied regular status, and robbed of job security. The scenario is even worse in government. According to the Civil Service Commission, 939,000 or 1 in every 3 government workers are JO or COS. Marami hong nakakaalam niyan dito sa bulwagang ito. Pati gobyerno may endo. It is clear that our democracy is dysfunctional and injustice widespread. At the heart of this dysfunction, we humbly submit, Madam Speaker, that there is no greater affront to democracy than what we call provincial wages. Let us state it plainly. The provincial rate is akin to legal discrimination. It sets in stone the idea that workers in the provinces deserve less pay for virtually the same labor. Isa ito sa pinakamalinaw na halimbawa ng sistematikong diskriminasyon at pahirap sa mga manggagawa. The provincial wage system causes disparate and unequal development. It causes brain drain, making it advantageous for almost every worker to live in NCR instead of elsewhere. In a tragic lose-lose scenario, the provincial wage system has caused congestion in Metro Manila and underdevelopment in the provinces. Madam Speaker, mga kapwa ko mambabatas, wala hong panalo dito. Lahat talo, bukod sa mga malalaking mga negosyante at mga oligarko. Perhaps, worst of all, the provincial rate is separating our families like Ate Lorna's. It erodes the moral fiber of our most basic social institution, one that our Constitution swore to protect. Parehas lang naman po ang trabaho ng CQ sa probinsya at sa Manila. Ganun na rin sa janitor, construction worker, BPO, at iba pang mga manggagawa. Parehong 8 oras ang trabaho kada araw. Hindi naman ho mas mabigat ang semento dito sa Manila kumpara sa Visayas o sa Mindanao. Pero bakit ho higit na mas barat ang sahod ng manggagawa sa probinsya? Our call is very simple, Mr. Speaker. Parehong sahod sa parehong pagod. Over the course of our campaign, we've heard several cliched arguments. Abolishing the provincial rate will lead to uncontrolled inflation, capital flight, and can't be afforded by small businesses. These statements are as dated as they are dangerous. They are based on a theory and not updated by experience. We must call these statements out for what they are. Nothing more but excuses used to promote an inherently unjust and discriminatory system. May kumikita dahil sa diskriminasyon at magaling gumawa ng palusot upang ipagpatuloy ito. Lagi ring tinatanong, Mr. Speaker, kaya ba ng ekonomiya? We answer with a resounding yes. Mr. Speaker, mga kasama kong mambabatas, hindi na po uubra ang lumang palusot na hindi ito kaya ng ekonomiya o malulugi ang mga negosyo. Base sa huling annual survey of the Philippine Businesses and Industry ng PSA, 11% lamang ng kabuang gastos sa negosyo ang para sa pasahod, habang ang nangungunang 1,000 korporasyon ay nagtala ng 2 trilyong pisong kita. Uulitin ko po, Mr. Speaker, 2 trilyong pisong kita noong 2023. Kaya ang mas dapat po nating itanong, kaya pa ba ng mga manggagawa? Kaya pa ba ng ordinaryong Pilipino na mamuhay sa sahod na halos kapiranggot kumpara sa pang-araw-araw na gastusin? Hindi po teorya ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, Mr. Speaker, kundi aktual na buhay ng milyon-milyong Pilipino. So let me be clear. We will not rest until we abolish the provincial wage system. This is our sacred covenant with our constituents. Beyond that, Kamanggagawa Party List will push and support for the implementation of the Constitution's promise of living wage. We will assert workers' basic benefits like resignation pay, sick and vacation leaves. We will fight for the regularization of workers, the defense of their rights to organize and assert their interests via strike. To paraphrase Albert Camus, in this world of conflict, we should always be on the side of the victims, not the executioners. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, we also have no illusions that this will be an easy task. We know that this will be an uphill battle. That is why, Mr. Speaker, we extend our hand of friendship to all, no matter the party affiliation. After all, what we need are legislators who not just lend their ears to listen, but truly work towards advocating for workers and ordinary people's interests. Alam at batid po namin na magkakaroon tayo ng mga debate at maaaring umabot po sa mga punto ng hindi pagkakaintindihan. But we are prepared to defend our proposals here in Congress with facts and arguments. Pero nais ko pong ilinaw at bigyang diin, lalong-lalo na po sa mga kasama ko sa bulwagang ito, sa usapin ng ikabubuti ng kalagayan ng mga manggagawa, kaibigan at kasama po ninyo ang buong kamanggagawa. As the representative, I will not shy away from the label of manggagawa. Nakabarong man ho, manggagawa pa rin ang turing ko sa aking sarili. I believe that the prestige of this office only extends as far as the work we do for the Filipino people. And in firm solidarity with workers and the Filipino people, this is our campaign promise, and I have committed to take only a minimum wage from my congressional salary, with the remainder going to the trade unions and federations who advance workers' welfare. This is my commitment to understanding the true situation of the Filipino worker. Mr. Speaker, in this time of great upheaval, of growing inequality and disillusionment, the Filipino people need a responsive and dynamic Congress, one that listens as much as it speaks and acts with resolve and conviction when the opportunity presents itself. Kailangan ng mga ordinaryong Pilipino ng Kongresong matapang at marunong mangarap. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, let us be the Congress which rises to this great task. Let us be the Congress which helps save our failing democracy. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker, at sa aking mga kasama dito sa bulwagan ito. Magandang gabi po.